Hi everyone, my name's Darryl Panes, CEO of As Good as Gold Australia, and today once again I'm joined by my brother Brian, partner.
Good morning, Darryl.
As Good as Gold. Yes, good morning Brian. And today we welcome back a very special guest. This gentleman has been referred to as the Robin Hood of Wall Street. He is an active and full-time trader of the capital markets with a worldwide following. He is the author of the book, A Not So Random Walk on Wall Street. He also hosts a very popular YouTube channel, Hidden in Plain Sight. Is there anything this man has not done, Brian?
And accomplished.
Yes, and accomplished. I welcome back the one and only Gregory Mannarino.
I appreciate you guys having me here. It's just fantastic. Thank you.
Oh, man, absolute pleasure. Look, exciting times, Greg. Gold is on a tear. Gold and silver are on a tear. Gold was up like 34% over here in Australia last year. Already, we're only 3 months in the first quarter and we're up something like 17, 18%. It's just pretty much like every day. You wake up in the morning and it's up again. Seems to be no decline in the price at all. So very exciting times, so much so that Brian and I have recognised we need to open another office here, even in Adelaide. We have a vaulting service in Adelaide, so we will be opening that bullion dealership within the next 3 or 4 weeks in the middle of the CBD here in Adelaide, just to cater for the demand that we've got at the moment, because there's just too much for one office as we see it. So exciting times in this industry, but which leads us to a whole bunch of questions that we have for you today. So let's see how many of them we can cover.
Right.
If you can recall, and I'm sure you can, Greg, going back to our last interview, I made reference to a gentleman by the name of Peter Daniels. Peter had a huge influence on us getting a greater understanding of gaining our financial freedom through investing in gold and silver. And I remember the day that, and I won't go through it all now, but he waved an American dollar in front of me. So we would, and shared his thoughts about the difference between that currency, that is fiat, and gold and silver real money. Today we're entering seriously entering a digital phase. And I'm just wondering, with cash, as much as it has devalued, it has some value to all of us in the respect that we can trade with it. It's our own. Governments don't know exactly what we're doing with it. We can buy things and they don't know that because we have control. With digital currency, they have full control. It reminds me a little bit of Oliver Twist, when Oliver ran out of food, his bowl of soup, and he said, walked up to the master and said, could I have another bowl of soup? And the master said, more? And I see governments in the same form, right? With digital currency, they have massive control over everything we do, everything we spend. And so going back a couple of years ago, we had a parliamentary vote here in Australia on discontinuing cash as a form of money, they would call it. It was well and truly voted against but it will raise its head again in 2030. I'd just like to know what your thoughts are about, particularly in America. What is it? How does the American government feel about this? What are their thoughts? What are your thoughts so far as retaining cash as an option versus digital currency moving forward? Your thoughts?
I believe people need to resist this with every fiber of their being. This is going to be a mechanism of maximum control. It's something they've been working towards for a very long time. We're talking about something not just along the lines of a central bank digital currency. We're talking about programmable money, okay? In other words, they get to dictate, and they will, where you can spend it, how much you can spend, if it even has an expiration date. they could turn it off. They, like, for example, if there's like a protest, they would turn off your currency. I mean, this is epic, man. This is a power grab on a scale that people need to resist with an extreme prejudice here. This is going to steal away more of our freedoms and liberties. There's a lot of people that are backing this stuff right here in the United States, so they don't think it's such a bad thing. It's a curse. This is going to be a curse upon mankind on a level that I think people are having no idea. We're here from the government. We're here to help you. You got to be freaking kidding me. Anyone that's going to sit there, I mean, autonomy is absolutely lost in a central bank of digital currency. And it's not just a matter of, well, I'm not doing anything wrong here, so I don't mind who's following me, who's tracking me. No. This is the whole other aspect of this. Again, is the prospect that this is going to be utilized and will as a mechanism of control. You can spend your cash here, you can't spend it there. It may expire on this thing. Who knows? Turn off your ability to use it. I mean, it's an incredible thing. But the dark black hole that this has the potential to push us down, we must resist this. I really don't know another way to put it.
No, and look, I thought you would respond that way. I think if I was asked the same question, it would be pretty much very much my response. It's scary stuff. It's scary times, and I hope we've got, the nation. America feel exactly the same way about this. The government, is that their projection, just to totally eliminate cash?
Oh man, look, we got this garbage, nonsensical executive order that we're not moving in that direction. It's a complete lie. Of course, we all know where we're going. The government is going to be banning the use of paper money. The government itself, not transactions for us, the people, we the people, just yet, but that's coming. Anyone who can't see the writing on the wall at this point, I don't care where you are on this planet. You obviously don't understand what's happening. These people, I mean, I don't get it. Here in the United States, I have to say, and I talk to people from all over the world, and I can say this: that the largest amount of people that absolutely have no clue are here in this nation. That they've been duped, they've been lied to, they've been deceived, they've been distracted, and they just keep falling through trapdoor after trapdoor after trapdoor after trapdoor, despite warnings from people like you, from people like me, from all kinds of people. I mean, it's unbelievable. We are the vast minority. But again, this is a natural selection that's going on here. Some people are going to get through this. Most people are not going to get through this here. The world economy is contracting, is collapsing. Here in the United States, it's basically shutting down here. We're getting calls for currency devaluation on the back of artificially suppressed rates. Here's the stealing of the purchasing power on an epic scale. People are being squeezed, but what's going on here? You got corporate profits at near record highs. Well, people can't survive. People can't survive. We all knew this was coming. We all been warning about this here. What have we been telling people to do since time immemorial? People like you, people like me. We were telling people, get your hands on hard assets, gold, silver, platinum, palladium as well. I love that stuff too. We got to bet against the system. There's no alternative. If we don't take action, if people don't realize what's happening to them, I mean, if they don't, people are here. I don't know about what you guys are, but I can promise you that people here have been lulled into some kind of a dystopian system, and they're just smiling as this thing's being taken apart piece by piece. There's no accident here. This is 100% deliberate. And it's going to continue and continue and continue until people are more wiped out than they are right now. I mean, this is an extinction level event, in my opinion, with regard to the entire middle class of the world having to live or being forced to survive at some kind of, in some capacity, under the rulership of a central bank. Well, you got world leaders here working with their central banks to make sure the purchasing power of the currency gets destroyed. It's just a mechanism of it's a grand theft on an unimaginable scale. You got wealth being stolen from the economy of the world, from the middle class of being shoved right up to the 1% and 2%, the Elon Musks of the world. And at least people are starting to wake up. I mean, there's protests here in the United States, other parts of the world too, with regard to this thing, Elon Musk here, whatever it may be. Okay, I don't even consider it human. But I could go on and on about this, but I think I'll stop talking for a moment.
Well, you can, Greg.
It's just so obvious what's happening to me. To me, it's so obvious only because I've been singing this same tune here for over a decade. All right. And yes, I definitely feel like I've made a positive difference in allowing people to understand the system, how it works, its dark side of it, how it's affecting people and the real economy. But again, it's all a deception on an epic scale. You got President Trump here, make America great again. He's destroying us all. People fell through that trap door here. I mean, what all we're hearing out of his mouth is we need lower rates, which of course destroys the purchasing power of the currency. Henceforth, why people are saying, hold on a minute, what's really happening? Maybe some people are starting to wake up, at least I hope so. We're going to bring manufacturing back here to the United States. Yeah, sure, we have a few pledges here, but no real movement. Our economy is in free fall. What person in their right mind would want to bring back their factories here today? We just got some very unfortunate news on manufacturing. We are back in contraction yet again. Factory orders falling off of a cliff. Economic activity is basically grinding to a halt. So anyone here, I guess, which is probably most of you and people listening, are smarter than Greg Mannarino, but explain to me why any major corporation would want to relocate. Why? Because of Trump's tariffs? Really? You got to be freaking kidding me. We're living in a nightmare. And we're just seeing it unfold faster.
Well, they took manufacturing away, as they did in Australia, without any hesitation. We were in manufacturing. I mean, we had a global business. We were represented in 17 countries around the world, supplying components for the metal pressing industry and the car manufacturing. But they didn't care. I mean, they were not supportive at all. Governments in that era of manufacturing in this country. There is no manufacturing in Australia anymore. To bring it back would be, I mean, what people don't understand is you've got to go through a new education process. There are apprenticeships. Holden Motor Company over here in Australia employed, because I went through the apprenticeship with them, but there are 117 apprentices that went through in the same year that I did, and on average that had been the case year after year after year after year. When General Motors closed down here in Australia, the last year they had 2 apprentices go through in 1 year, and it was the same with Mitsubishi, same with the white goods industry. So you need years and years and years of input before you can produce a product. Needs experience, needs quality people, takes time. You can't do it in 5 minutes. It's ridiculous.
Part of the trap that people fall through here in the United States. It's always the same with every election, as we spoke about before this interview started. It's a game. They promise people everything, and the people get nothing. They always do. People, what's interesting? Human nature really is a fascinating thing. Is people very rarely act in their own in favor of themselves. It's an incredible thing. It's almost like some kind of twisted, drug-induced kind of a thing. I don't know what it is. It's yet to be defined, I suppose. But it's definitely the truth that people never act in their own best interest, and they expect, for some twisted reason, that some elected official is going to do that, some multi-billionaire with his ultra-rich little cohort on the side. You can't make this stuff up. It's impossible to do. But that's really what is happening here on a grand scale in the United States. And I believe this is the entire world. I mean, there's a common denominator. The common denominator is central banks. The central banks are destroying us. So I think these are the biggest criminal organizations ever to infect the human race. And we got to get rid of these things. We can't be free nowhere in the world if you're forced to live under the rulership of one of these institutions. And they're out to destroy us and forcing us to participate in their system using their currency. God forbid you try to transact outside that. God forbid you try to use gold or silver or something. Oh, no, they can't tax you. Then they're going to come after you, whatever it might be. Look, man, this is, I know I'm preaching to the choir, and I'd be willing to bet that some people here have heard this before. But I mean, we really got to do something. This is getting way, way out of control everywhere. So, I mean, hopefully people are starting to wake up, and maybe that has something to do with the price of gold lately, record high, and silver taking off like this. And we haven't seen anything yet. This is just the opening act. We're not even close to seeing the real price action movement with regard to gold and silver. I think we're pretty much all on the same page. I mean, it's just such a simple equation here. How I look at it is, I mean, I break things down always to their root causes, and I believe what we're going to see here is a meltdown in the debt market. The credit markets are going to end up locking up. There's no doubt about it. That was the real issue with the financial crisis here in the United States, why they ran Bernanke, creature that he is, before our loving, caring representatives, and told them that if we don't start pumping cash into the economy over that weekend, by Monday, we wouldn't have an economy. Well, we're going to face that same kind of a moment here globally, where the entire global financial system is going to lock up, and the flow of credit or the flow of debt through the system is going to stop. And people are going to look at their bank accounts and their investment plans and see zeros across the board. They're not going to understand what to do with themselves. They're going to be pandemonium in the streets. And if anyone believes for a nanosecond that this is just by chance, but not a deliberate act, they know exactly what they're doing here. Without doing what they're doing, inflating and finding every mechanism to do that, the United States is at war right now, 24/7, around the clock, since 15th of last month. We're flattening Yemen. We are hitting targets directly in the capital here. As a springboard, obviously, to a much bigger war. We got Russia right now calling up. This is just breaking today. The largest call up of troops in history right now. So the world is arming themselves, and they all know where we're going. Look, man, it's so crazy. Really, it is.
Yeah, and what did Donald Trump say? That if he was in power,
Hang on, don't take away my question, Darryl. Don't take away my question.
All right,
and
go for it.
I've got to say this, Greg, before I get to even the first question, which with Darryl posed to you with regards to cashless societies, which I totally agree with everything Darryl was saying there. But this is how the general public is confused. I put a question to a young group about a week ago. In that young group, there's a school teacher, she's just on the verge of being a school teacher. She's in her mid-20s. And I said to the group, if I was entered politics, I could reduce the personal taxation level to zero. All right, to zero. So in Australia, let's say the average income tax, personal income tax, 25% of whatever they earn. So I said I could reduce that to zero, but on one condition, right? Half the public service would have to be eliminated. Now I said to the young person, I said, what would you prefer? No income tax with a reduction of the public service by half, or not at all? She said, no, I'll go with a 25% income tax. And I thought, hang on, are we for real here? And I didn't continue on the conversation. It was going to get too personal. But that's how our younger people, definitely the younger people, are thinking. We've been doing all right. There's nothing really wrong out there. The government can solve the problems of the world. Government will never solve any problems of the world because, unfortunately, there are too many out there that have not experienced business life. They've not experienced life at all because they've never risked anything. All right, and that's where it all comes to play. Once you experience risk in your life, then you start to really think about what's going on out there.
It's just really too bad that it takes a long time to grow up and to realize and to see things correctly. And even in me, I'm going to be 60 very soon. I'm still every day trying to learn more and pick things up, but it takes a very long time. I remember when I was growing up, I didn't pay any attention to this, none of it. Who did? I mean, there were much more important things, and then you realize how things are, and the control mechanisms, which are so evident today. I mean, I guess they've been around since time immemorial, but today, I mean, people are feeling it. Anyway, I'm sorry.
We digress. Greg, in Australia, in this first 3 months, January, February, March of 2025, gold has increased by, in Australia, Australian dollars, about 18%. I went back and studied the last 20 years of gold prices, and we see there has been an increase in 2 of those 20 years of over 30%. Do you see that happening again in 2025? Now, we're at 18%. I can't see it going down. But do you think we're going to have another 30% plus increase in the price of gold?
I think the better question is, what are we going to see with regard to the purchasing power of the currency? And how is that going to affect everything, including the price of gold? We all know where this is going. We, you, me, us three, the people listening to this, I mean, come on, man. It's just a no-brainer. If people do not realize really yet, I don't know, some people don't. And I talk to people who just still believe that gold is some kind of a barbaric relic. And there's some of my friends who are pretty well off. And they don't even own an ounce of gold. Not one. I can't believe it. I'm like, I've been telling you guys, what's wrong with you? And these are people that follow my work. They know me on a personal basis. We talk about this stuff, but I don't think so, Greg. I don't know what it's going to take to wake up some people. I just really don't. They're living in la la land, like most people are. But look, man, I mean, it's very simple. What I do is I try to. Again, I'm a macro guy, and I say, okay, how's cash going? I look at the flow of cash through the markets. That's really all I do, based upon what I see action in the debt market. And I see a debt market that's a time bomb. That is a literal time bomb. It's a matter of time before it's going to go off, and it's not going to go off at some random time. Of course, they got to set up the scapegoats first. They got to figure out how they're going to shift the blame and tell everyone why the system has all of a sudden ground to a complete, utter, total halt. And that's what we're going to end up seeing. There's just no doubt at all. And then it comes down to what I was saying is, so the price action of gold, silver, platinum, palladium, even commodities, I like it. I like looking at it. But making a price projection, I just say, look, man, this is where it's going to go higher. Is it going to waver around? Is it going to go straight up and linearly? No, it isn't. But we're going to see, again, a meltdown in that debt market. The meltdown in the debt market is going to cause bond yields around the world to spike so fast and so hard that people aren't going to have to do it themselves, which is going to put a maximum amount of pressure on equity markets or stock markets around the world. And you're going to see cash bleed out of these asset classes, if you want to even call them that. I guess the stock market is an asset. Is debt an asset? I think that's debatable. Okay, but again, what we're going to end up seeing is just a movement of cash into commodities. It's going to be a tsunami, an ocean. I still say that the best case scenario here for gold that I can possibly come up with, I have revised this a few times over the years, but I believe with all I have and all the work that I've done with this, that we will see a par Dow with gold to 8,000. That's where it's going. And silver, 10 to 1 gold, 15, that's where I see it. Could I be off here? Sure. But that's just my take on it. I believe we're going to par. This isn't new. This isn't some kind of new concept I've come up with. We're going to end up seeing this at one point. There's no doubt about it. I believe we don't even know where the bottom of the Dow is. We know that it's nowhere near where it is now. Multiples expansion cycle that we've been in, people willing to pay basically anything to own a share of stock at this, but we've seen this before. And this mechanism here of artificially suppressed rates, what it does, what it's meant to do is open up a doorway or a window for cash to make its way into risk assets. And that's why we have this epic bubble in world stock markets. Nothing is real. It's all an illusion here. But the real value of the Dow, I don't know where it is. I mean, in my best estimation is probably 8,000. And I believe that's why we're going to see a par with gold. That's how I look at it. I don't really focus on the month-to-month, day-to-day. I don't even care. I really don't. People say, hey, Greg, you don't talk about gold and silver enough. Well, what else is there to say? I've never wavered from this. That's my best case scenario that I can possibly come up with. I think it makes sense the way I have outlined it. And I haven't heard too many people push back hard enough to say, Greg, you're wrong on this. Because everyone I outlined that, they say, Greg, it sounds pretty spot on.
Yeah, very, very true. I suppose I could have reworded it and said it's a bit like Zimbabwe or Venezuela. An ounce of gold in those years of Venezuela would buy a year's worth of food. So that's where the value is, in an ounce of gold. It's not the 5,000 Australian. Darryl's got a Zimbabwean note here, I think.
That's where we're heading, guys. $100 trillion.
I got those. I have no idea, but I have. I got a pile here of gold and
Yeah, it's
Isn't it
not.
amazing? $1.20 Aussie.
Yeah.
In
The dollar,
2008. Yeah.
the gold could go to 100,000. That's what you buy with the gold.
Yeah.
That's what's everything about. And I do remember when we first entered gold and silver, because we've been saving in it for 27 years. But you go back 27 years, and a cup of coffee was 40 cents, 50 cents, right? And gold might have been $300, but the ratio is exactly the same. But now they're just printing the heck out of it, and it doesn't matter what price it's at. Gold will be your best venture.
Sure.
Moving on. This is quite alarming, Greg. But and I'm sure you get it in the United States. But I just want to see if it's happening. Recently, certainly in the last 6 months, on the subject of commercial television in Australia, there seems to be an aversion towards providing the up-to-date gold price. We're talking gold prices, but hear me out. Is it the same in the United States? Surely with an increase of 80% so far in 2025. This would be worthy news. Do Western governments want censorship over the gold price? Or is it a case of the very wealthy not wanting the competition of the fiat currency versus money debate?
information here in the United States it's non-existent. There isn't anything. As a matter of fact, I mean, you would think that maybe, we're going to talk about gold in a moment here, but you would think that we have now in the United States been in a new war around the clock since the 15th of last month, unrelenting, where Donald Trump promised, in his own words, annihilation. That's what he said. Nowhere. It's nowhere on the media. Go.
Wow.
Wouldn't even know it's happening right now. If you were beamed here from another planet and beamed right into my house and were to flip through all the news channels that I have, you wouldn't see it. It's not there. Yeah. The control of what people are allowed to know, the fake data, it's all fake. We all know it's fake. Is it fake by you? Because I can promise you that our government data has no bearing on reality whatsoever. Or they will give us hints of things from time to time. So no, absolute zero. You don't hear. All you hear about, if you would turn on the Bloomberg and CNBC and Fox Business, all they want people to look at, they don't want people to look at anything except the Dow 30 companies. That's it. They don't want even people to look at the S&P 500, and maybe once in a while they maybe talk about the NASDAQ or NVIDIA or a particular company. They don't want you to focus on, so they don't have to look at anything else. But absolutely not. This is the issue. This is why people I know here, people who have substantial net worth, don't own a single ounce of gold. I don't get it. But because, again, they don't hear about it. It's out of sight, out of mind here. Hey, Greg, what's the Dow doing? What's the stock market doing today? But if I hear that one more time, I may have to hit someone because I'm frankly sick of talking about it, and it's just so freaking crazy. I hate that, let me say this, like when I'm not doing interviews like this or I'm not working, the last thing on this earth I want to talk about is the stock market in any way, shape or form. But we got to get we got to get this message out there, man. It's just too important. And you hit the nail on the head. People if they don't see it, if they're not able to have it rammed down their throat and in every freaking orifice they have, well, then they don't want to, they just disconnect themselves from it. So if there were, let's say, the media outlets talking about, hey guys, are you watching the performance of gold? Are you seeing what's happening here with, so let me say this, people here in the United States, my own neighbors here, up until recently, like my neighbor across the street, he actually followed my work before I moved here. I had no idea. When I moved in here, he couldn't believe I was his neighbor. And he's like, Greg, where can you buy gold? I mean, you're trying to tell me I can buy real gold? I can buy real silver? I'm like, yeah. They don't know it. They don't even know that. It's like it's an epiphany. They have no idea that they can actually go out and buy this stuff here. It's some kind of an information psyop that is going on in with regard to, I believe that the media is, at least here in the United States, it's all controlled. They tell you what they want. They got people there reading those. You can see their eyes. They're reading teleprompters. They're told what to say, just like the president of the United States. Look there, look here, look at those. And they don't show it to you on the TV because they're blocked out. But you see the head turn here, blah, 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 blah. You see the head turn here, blah. Now look at the three of us here. We're not reading nothing. We're sitting here talking because we have something to say. These other people, they're being told what to say, what to do to maintain a particular narrative. I mean, this is not a conspiracy. I mean, this is actually real. And unfortunately, the people have been lulled to sleep. And thank God for shows like this. Maybe we can wake up just one person. Then we've made a positive difference.
Yeah. I mean, like you see it all the time. They free bread and circuses. I mean, there is that much stuff on TV now. I mean, you just turn it on, there's sport happening somewhere. All around the world. I mean, you can turn it on at 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, midnight, doesn't make any difference. There's always sport, there's always activity. And I just think back, you've only got to go back 2,500 years, free bread and circuses, Roman Empire, just take their mind off what's going on, and they're doing a wonderful job of it. Yeah, I have to agree. It's horrible to but you bring that to the attention of some intelligent people, and they take absolute offence to it. You know, what do you mean? How dare you say that? You know, but they're all caught up in it.
So that's you confront people, like you were just saying, with what is a glaring truth, and it kind of they can't think like that. You know, they've already been told what to think, what to feel, where to look. You're telling them it's to this, and then all of a sudden it's like they attack you. I get the same thing. We all get it. You think that this interviewers are going to get that too? We're going to get it. Oh, these guys don't know this. That. Again, I there's something else going on too, guys. Yeah. There's people out here. I think they're paid shills. I think that it's their bots, whatever it is, that interfere with what we're trying to do, because the message that we're trying to do is pure truth, and pure truth is the enemy. Okay, you can't know this stuff. The stuff that we talk about, we relate to those who have even one functioning brain cell is pretty easy to get to understand. But we're dealing with people that have been so dehumanized, dumbed down. I don't know what it is. They walk. I mean this. Most people walk through time and space. They don't know who they are. They don't know what they're doing or why they're doing it. They've been turned into drones. That just kind of march along to whatever tune that they're seeing on the live vision, you know, the programs. That's all it is. So imagine, for example, that this show right here was out on CNBC, Bloomberg, Fox Business. I mean, people would know what to do with themselves. They would probably all run out right now and say, "Hold on a minute, I need to get some gold, man. I need to get some," you know. But that's not what they're being told. That's not what they're being told. They're being told everything's going to be fine, or everything is fine. Oh, everything is. So we'll worry about it. We got your best interest in mind. We know what's happening in the economy.
We have your back. Yes.
We have your back. They're wiping out the economy. They're destroying the middle class. They're enriching the 1% and 2%. And they're laughing. They're laughing.
I was about to say, Joe, we did forget one thing with the bread and circuses and everything else. Let the alcohol flow. Yeah.
So,
okay. Greg, look, to our knowledge, there are 3 US gold depositories of physical gold. First, Fort Knox. Everyone knows about Fort Knox, or they should at least. Then there is the Federal Reserve of New York, and lastly, the Federal Reserve in St. Louis. President Trump has said he will visit Fort Knox to see the gold. That was some time ago, and it hasn't happened yet, of course. Why? Number one, why just Fort Knox and not the others? And why is it taking so long to arrange the visit? I'm sort of thinking, and you know, here's Donald Trump. Let's say he had arranged for a visit the following day. Really catch him out. My line of thought is there isn't any gold there. If I'm correct and there was no gold at Fort Knox, that would have been the end of the US dollar. It'd be all over if it isn't already. But that would just have sped things up. So he's giving him time, in my opinion, to fly gold in so that if, in fact, there is an audit, there'll be something there to see. So what are your thoughts on that? Am I sort of thinking is outside the square? Does it make sense to you? What are your thoughts?
First of all, absolutely. Where's the urgency to get there? There is no urgency. Is the gold there? He should have got, if he really wanted to reveal the truth to the people, he would have flown over there right now.
Yeah.
I have said, I believe that right now the largest, most unbelievable theft in the history of the world may be occurring. The reason why they're putting it off is he's stealing the gold. He, along with Musk, is the gold may have been there, but if it's not there, okay, they're the ones that redistributed it to whoever they want to. It wouldn't be too big of an undertaking to do. Whether the gold's there or not, I guess, well, we know under Steve Mnuchin, the U.S. other freak that was one of Trump's little cohorts, the Treasury Secretary, he went there and he said it's all there. As a matter of fact, Scott Bessent, our newest Treasury Secretary, in other words, peddler of U.S. debt, he said the gold is there. This was maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago. How does he know that? It's counted for. But again, man, there's just something else. Whether the gold was stolen a long time ago, or the gold is being stolen right now, whether who knows the freak what, they're going to come up with something here. Look, man. The bottom line is, to me, is what they're doing in the United States is obviously, and everywhere, is moving into this digital currency that we say they must resist with every fiber of our beings. Goldberg had been told that gold is a barbaric relic here. It's useless. It serves no purpose. It's the governments. They're so mote it be. So let it be fiat currency here. That's really money. Ben Bernanke, gold isn't money, but central banks do hold it for tradition. You can't make this stuff up. Again, this is what I'm talking about. But, it's an interesting thing. President Trump and Musk over there. Oh, yeah, we're going to see if the gold's there, but we're going to take our sweet time doing it. Look, it's something else is going on. Whether they're repatriating gold, all they have to do really is really fake some pictures here. It doesn't even matter if they put the gold back in there. They're only going to allow select people in there to see that it's there. They could be walking into a cavern, an empty cavern, and they're going to tell you, oh, we saw the gold. It's there. Here are the pictures. Let me show you them. It's not going to be fake. We're never going to know because we're never going to have a real audit. No way. It's an incredible thing. How about this Doge thing here? All the money they're saved. They found all this fraud. They found all these misappropriated funds. Where are the arrests? Who's responsible? Okay. Yeah. Where are the clawbacks? How about nowhere? I told everyone since day one that this was a fraud. This was a fraud being perpetrated. It's a shell game. What are they doing now? We're fighting a war costing us hundreds of billions of dollars here. Whatever Doge may have found, well, first of all, there's never going to be one arrest. There's never going to be no one held to account here. This is just some other thing that's going on. I think some people here in the United States may be waking up. Not enough by a long shot, man. But it's an interesting prospect. Let's just take our sweet time to see if the gold is there. Wow, man. Make it up. Make it up. Make any of this stuff up.
I think you may have sort of answered the next question, but it is about President Trump. Don't get me wrong, folks. I think President Trump is trying to do some good in the United States and in the world. But he's got some awful powerful people that are pulling the strings. And so I'll put this question to you.
Tell us then, if that's really the truth, why doesn't he come out and say, well, listen, I got to tell you something. He won't tell you that because it's all nonsense. The man has been selected. There was no election here in the United States. We're being brought to our knees deliberately. We're being destroyed from within. Although, yes, maybe President Trump did secure the borders. Let's give him that. But the rest of everything is done. Basically, every single executive order he has put forth here has done nothing but hurt the United States, hurt the people of the United States and the rest of the world as well, putting us into some kind of an economic war and a kinetic war. As far as I'm concerned, the man is a failure on a massive scale. And it wouldn't have been any different had they selected the other one either. Just let me be clear on that. But this thing here, this thing there, okay. And also another thing I don't consider a human being, because all he's done is lied and duped his people into believing that if we're going to do something, it was going to end these wars overnight. One day, how did that work out here? We were going to end the inflation here in one day. How did that work out? He's got us into another war already, hundreds of billions of dollars. So I take exception to that. I think this man has been selected here for a reason, to bring us all to our knees, the entire world. Maybe possibly is even the freaking Antichrist. I have no idea. But I'm just saying that this is not right, what we're seeing.
Yeah. Yeah, like, no, you're right.
I'm a guy who says what's on his mind, and that's how I am. And I just don't like what I'm seeing here. It's a terrible situation in the United States.
Yeah. Well, this may be a one-word answer. We've got to answer, carry on from what we were just talking about. On the subject of President Trump. Now, he's been in office now since mid-January.
Yep.
I seem to recall that he would have had the Ukraine war resolved within a few days of becoming president. Well, is it a case that it goes deeper than first thought? And maybe it is the case of the Defense Department prolonging it. Now, printing of money has always prolonged wars. So, does President Trump have any jurisdiction within this Ukraine war, or is it somebody else pulling the strings?
Oh, he's just a spokesperson. That's all. All are these things. They're puppets. Every single one of them is a puppet. I told everybody, okay, during the run up to the campaign, that war would not stop. Greg, you're wrong. President Trump is the peace president. Everything's going to be done. There's going to be no more wars. I had people wanting to bet me money that there would be no war. We're already in the war. Okay, this can't. What people don't understand is war. First of all, well, let me refocus for a moment here. War generates a need, the greatest need for borrowed dollars than any other human endeavor. That alone should tell us where we were going to go. The system here is illiquid. The system is running out of cash. We may seem to be debt saturated around the world, but the bottom line is this. No matter how much cash they pump into the system, no matter how much they add to a digital screen, no matter how much they print, it can never fill the void. The void grows deeper and deeper every single minute of every single day. And that the mechanism, I've been telling people, look for things that you're not going to believe, even the things of nightmares, to keep the debt-based system going. And that's exactly what we're at. We're not at war to fight terror. Anyone who bought that really drank a little too much Kool-Aid here. We're not fighting this new war to free up the shipping lanes over there. This is a war against all of us are in the United States and around the world here, to allow the system to inflate. That's all this is. Do we have a cash box somewhere here in the United States that I don't know about, that we can just fund this war from? Who funds it? Where does all the cash come from? Track the money. We know where it comes from. It's the central banks. All wars are bank wars. This is no secret to anybody. But this is a mechanism, along with President Trump repeatedly calling and demanding now that we lower rates. What does that do? How does a central bank lower rates? Has anyone really pondered that? Well, let's think about it. They can't just say it. They can't wave a magic wand. So what do? They got to get into the markets and make it happen. It means they got to add digits to a screen and buy the debt. In other words, monetize it all. It's an incredible thing what central banks do. They issue debt through one door in the form of currency. They buy it back through another door in the form of treasury shares. So this evolving vortex is massively inflationary, but they can't tell people that. Stay distracted, everyone. So that's what we're seeing here. Is President Trump pulling the strings? No. But President Trump is fed a script, and he knows that. They all are. If President Trump had 1 ounce of guts in him, which he is completely gutless to the highest possible order, then he would tell us all the truth, but he can't do that. He's going to continue to dismiss, to call real news fake, to consume, to suck the system dry, and make sure those 1 or 2%ers, they're doing pretty well, aren't they? That's exactly what we're going here. And that's the guy that was selected to run the United States, and he ain't running nothing.
Yeah.
Okay. You're speaking the truth there, Greg. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Look,
the truth is, people, I've lost thousands of subscribers, and I've gained thousands more. That's what and I frankly don't give a damn what it is. I will say what's on my mind, and people are free to make up. They're free to do whatever they want. I frankly don't care what they do. If they don't want to listen to people like you and me and the three of us here and others that have been warning and telling them repeatedly over and over again what's going on, what's really happening, they want to continue to live in their little sideshow delusions, freak show, comedy act, clown shows, well, that's fine. Let them sit there and be content. People like you, people like me, people who follow our work, they get it. And that's the people, those are the only people I care about reaching. The rest of them,
Yeah.
as my mom would say, they could take a long walk off a short pier, man. I really don't give a damn.
I'll tell you what, it's a joy, Greg, to have so many people, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people over the last 12 months that have connected with Brian and myself. These are existing clients from years ago, and they've said, look, thank you so much, because this is the best thing we ever did, getting into precious metals.
Great
I mean,
feeling.
for some people, it's just, they've become multimillionaires, and others it's taken them from nowhere to a very, very healthy financial space. So it's the best thing they've ever done. We're just going to keep pushing it, because we know we can have an impact, a positive impact on people's lives.
They just got to make up their own minds. They got to decide what they want. The people that get it are going to get it.
Yep.
And the other people just aren't going to. And it's just a weird thing going on here, guys. But I'm hoping that more people are going to turn around and start to wake up that they're being used, that they're being destroyed. And most people are going to go down without even fighting back. And then, unfortunately, this is a phenomenon that we've seen. And then the way to fight back is to bet against the system. And you bet against the system by holding gold, by holding silver, which I still say is the most undervalued asset on the face of the earth. Gold would be a second, platinum, palladium probably run a third. People need exposure to these things, and I'm in everything. Everyone knows that. I have investments all over the place, but I'd have to say that from day one, I came out swinging, saying people bet against the debt, become your own central bank, and that means holding hard assets, and that would be the ultimate advice that I would. I own Bitcoin, I own cryptocurrencies. Everybody knows it. I'm an open book. Everyone knows what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. I make announcements publicly as to what I'm doing and what I'm doing as well. So I don't have anything to hide, and I want people to believe that I'm a real person that really does have a genuine care for what people should be doing. And then again, whether they listen to you or any the three of us here or not. I mean, look, man, I'm not here to change anybody's mind. I'm sure you're not either. But you want to allow these people to think, because people have lost the ability to do that.
Yep, absolutely. I've got a final question. We could have 100 more questions, but we wouldn't run it. We'd go for 2, 3, 4, 5 hours. But and we've spent a little bit of time just on silver, but I just want to get a little bit more feedback from you. Okay, the ratio at the moment, gold to silver, is at about 90 to 1. You mentioned sorry.
Beautiful. I mean, what you just said, let's just stop right there.
Yeah, right. Okay.
What does that tell us all? What does that tell us? If that doesn't tell people that this is a glaring opportunity across the sky,
Oh, okay.
what else do they need, man? What else do they need to know? All right, anyway, go ahead.
I'm with you. I mean, look, in that great bull run, 71 through 1980, silver ended up at 15 to 1 ratio. It went up 3,600% over a 9-year period. It outperformed gold around 2,400%. So, and at the end of it all, 1,000 ounces of silver, when it closed into 15 to 1, 1,000 ounces of silver could buy a median property. Silver was $50 an ounce, 50,000 median property, 1,000 ounces bought that property. Do you believe that there's a possibility that we could see that happen again? And in which case, do you believe that silver should be treated as a priority now? Because it seems such a phenomenally exciting investment to me. I mean, I've been a 50-50 person, as has Brian, all through the 40-year period that I've been investing in precious metals. 50-50. What are your thoughts? Do you think there should be an emphasis now with people in purchasing silver in preference to gold? Your thoughts?
I think people should be way overweight silver.
Yeah.
And I am positioned that way. I am definitely way overweight. In other words, my ratio is
Right.
probably, if I had to say what my ratio is right now, but off the top of my head, it's probably like 70-30.
Okay.
I think that that's just because again, I look at things like the silver to gold ratio, what you just mentioned here, and where this is going to go. People just aren't prepared to see it. I mean, I really believe, again, going back to what we said earlier, we're going to get a par Dow. I mean, I can't imagine it's not going to play a different way. Because again, just think about it. Meltdown in the spiking of rates around the world again as debt sells off is going to put so much pressure on the stock markets of the world. Where's cash going to go? It doesn't fly away to money heaven. Most people think it does. It doesn't. It just goes from one reality into another. So again, the Dow gold ratio of 8,000 at 10-1, which is a distinct possibility, is $800 an ounce for silver. So I mean, just do the math. 15-1, I can't figure that out off the top of my head, but it's kind of 650, something along those. It's pretty good. And that's where I see it potentially going. So people better get with the program, man. They better start realizing this. I mean, I've been telling people, get about one asset, it's silver. So in my opinion, from a guy who's invested in quite a few things, I think people should be overweight silver, yes.
Right. Do you want to add anything, Brian, before we close? I mean, what a wonderful time to close. Silver at 15-1, $800 an ounce. I mean,
No, look, it's one of the,
we keep pushing it, don't we?
Yeah, it's one of those things that it is under-owned, and it should be at least a 50% or possibly more at this stage. I think the next 2 to 3 years is going to be a great 2 to 3 years for the silver price. So yeah, that's my personal view.
And when it closes in and it outperforms gold by double, you can sell your silver at that point. You could, and just buy gold. You're getting gold at half price.
Over in Australia, we get a lot of TV advertisements about carpets and other things, but carpets 80% off, 90% off. You know, so you got
gold
lounges 80% off. You know? And I think, how can you never get silver and gold at a discount? It's just one of those things you never ever see it, except for this one area. If you are buying silver now, and I believe silver will really get its legs on, right? It's time to then, if silver goes up twice as fast as gold, right, and the ratio comes back to 40% or even better, less than 40-1 ratio, you then can buy gold with your silver and that means you're buying gold at half price.
I agree. We need to switch out like that, but you know, that's just something else that I just really haven't put a lot of thought into right now. I'm just sitting here waiting very patiently. We all are. I think we all know, really, honestly, you don't need too much thinking power to understand that this is where we need to be. At least I hope people understand that. And I don't know, man. I hope we made a little difference today with this show.
Yep, so do we. I'm sure we have. Charlie Jones. We make reference to Charlie Jones on a very regular basis. I will mention him to every single client that walks into my office today. Charlie used to say, 5 years' time, you'll be in exactly the same position you're in right now, apart from two things: people you meet and the books you read. Brian and I have made an effort to communicate with as many people that could assist us moving forward, educate us financially, economically. That's been our push and our desire, our commitment for the last 40 years. And of course, we've been very fortunate to come across yourself and absolutely and totally appreciate the time, the effort, the energy, Greg, that you put into these discussions. We've got a considerable viewing audience. We'd love to think that they would want to connect with you and follow you with a purpose, because I don't think there's probably anybody smarter out there, any better out there than yourself. I mean, it's a wonderful opportunity. So what is the best way that people can connect with you, follow you, and benefit in the process?
I think I'm a pretty easy guy to find. Just Google my name, you'll find me. YouTube. I have my own website, traderschoice.net. I mean, if people really are interested in this and stuff, yeah, sure. Come on, join my pride.
Oh, our guys are. They're very interested in this stuff.
That's awesome. I love that. I call my pride lions. I would love to have more lions as part of my pride. People that are out here that want to make a positive difference in the world, that are understanding what's happening on every level right now. So, let's do this. I mean, we really, guys like you and me, and we're trying hard. You guys have definitely made a positive difference for yourselves and for the people that respect you. I respect you both. And I hope you guys will, when you share this video, send me the link, because I want people to hear this stuff.
Absolutely. Yes, 100% guaranteed. If I could close by just making reference, a reminder to all of our viewers out there, Jim Sinclair, the late Jim Sinclair, always used to say, become your own central bank. What do? They own gold. Why do they own gold? Because it gives them power, control, influence. Wouldn't you want the same? If it's good enough for them, surely it's good enough for us.
Absolutely. One word we have forgotten there, Darryl, but you wouldn't have forgotten it. It just hasn't come up. It also gives you the freedom.
Oh, absolutely.
Once you've got freedom, you can make choices. If you're not free, you won't be able to make choices.
No, that's right. Peter Daniels would always say, I do not care what poorly executed economic decisions take place in the world tonight, because tomorrow I'll still be able to party. And Peter remains our lifetime mentor, a very, very special guy. And he has set the example for his children. So they will experience generational wealth right throughout that family. Both of his sons, his daughter, are wealthy. They all own gold. And so he set a precedence, didn't he?
Yeah, absolutely.
Egon von Greyerz. What does Egon von Greyerz say when it comes to investing in gold and silver?
Well, the question has always come up is, how much should you invest in gold and silver? And his answer is a very clear cut and very precise. Whatever you can't afford to lose, right? Whatever you cannot afford to lose. I can't afford to lose on the stock market. I don't have stocks, right? The only stocks I do have, I should rephrase that. The only stocks I have are in gold mining shares, but they're only 20%. If my gold mining shares were liquidated or they went bust, it wouldn't hurt me dramatically. Annoyed, but it wouldn't hurt me dramatically. So whatever you can't afford to lose goes into gold and silver. So gold and silver.
I would say with every spare dime you may have, put it into gold or silver. You know what I mean? You're not gonna lose it. These are real wealth. They've been proven to be real wealth for thousands and thousands of years. It's not going to stop tomorrow, the next day, next month, next year, or 10 years, or 1,000 years from now. So I don't want people to choke themselves, but if people, give up a cup of coffee a day, give up the cigarettes or the alcohol or whatever it might be, put that into gold, put it into silver, more specifically, my favorite asset. But that's it, man.
That's it. Greg, thank you so much once again. Love your support and would love to do this again with you. And as well, obviously, we would like to thank our viewing audience, our supporters of this channel. We couldn't do it without you. So really appreciate your support. And so until next time, stay well, stay focused, and goodbye for now.
And goodbye for now.